Dear students and learners, welcome again to Utica Learn English. I hope you all are fit and fine. So I'm here again with another class for you, my dear learners and students. And today's topic is to know how to study English literature effectively. Because the students who are studying English literature under National University have very often asked me, Sir, how we should proceed with our studies. Because most of you are not familiar with the language, with the culture, or the background elements to know a piece of literature very effectively and understandably. So, I'm going to talk about all the things and topics related to study English literature effectively. I hope you will stay with me till the end of this class and know the top things by which you can study English literature very effectively. Okay. Mainly, here I have selected 11 important things or points which, if we follow serially or sincerely, I hope you will be able to understand English literature very well. You know that in studying English literature, you actually face three different problems. The first one is the language problem. Because especially in National University, most of the students admit themselves in this subject just with their result. Even many of you don't have at least a basic knowledge in English language. So when you see the book or when you go through the text, you fall in the problem in understanding. And the second problem is the culture or the references which are given in a particular text because you don't know the religious background or the culture of a particular European country, especially in England. So you face problems in understanding what the writer actually wants to say. And another thing is that you don't know how to proceed, in which process or in which system you should go ahead with your studies. Which thing you should study first and which thing you should do next. So in this class, I'm going to talk all these things step by step so that you can have a comprehensive understanding that how you should start your study in English literature, especially under National University, because there are so many problems you will face while you are studying here. So the first step is understanding different contexts. And the very first problem I have already said that when you are reading a poem or a story or an essay, the problem you face that you don't know most of the things narrated there because the culture or the religion or related elements or things or references are mostly unknown to you, unfamiliar to you. So, what you should do, understand the historical, political, and cultural contexts. Okay, so here you should know historical, political, and cultural context based on which the story or the essay or the poetry has been written. Okay, because it will help interpret a text's themes and language. There are some literary terms or words that you should know, such as themes. What is actually theme? If you don't know what is theme, then you will feel what does this word actually say to you. Then familiarize yourself with the different literary periods. When you are going to read through different genres or writings of different poets or writers, you see that they are from different times of a particular country because some may be of 500 years ago who have written some pieces of poetry or stories or essays, or some may be very recent. So you have to familiarize about the periods and the cultural, social or historical background of that particular period. In first year, you face such kinds of problems, but step by step or gradually, you become familiar with these things. So don't be hesitant or don't be disappointed. Rather, feel free to understand everything, to know everything, because you have the materials at your hand. You have the smartphone, you have the internet connection, and you have the Google. So whenever you are not understanding anything, just search it in the Google and read it, and I think you will understand everything. Even a particular word. If you don't know a particular word or the meaning of the particular word, search it in the Google and Google will help you, even with the pronunciation. Okay. And it is said that familiarize yourself with the different literary periods to understand how historical shifts influence literary styles and themes. Especially when you will study in your second year course, you will get a paper named History of English Literature. You will be familiar there different stages or periods of literary history. And you will also know that different genres of literature has started in different stages of the periods. Some have started in Old English period, some have started in Elizabethan period, some have been introduced in Victorian or Romantic period. So in this way, you will know that historical or social backgrounds have influenced in the creation of different literary genres. Okay. So study major movements and their characteristics. And you will also face some movements or literary ideals, different isms like Romantic movement, Renaissance, Victorianism, humanism, such kind of isms or theory you will face. You will get such kind of words. So be familiar with those terms and theories, and they will help you in understanding a particular text. The second one is read actively and critically. Please don't read just to know the story. Don't read anything in Bangla. Okay, because very often we see that you go through the Bangla translation of an English text. Actually, this is the problem, because if you know the story in Bangla, then you will not enjoy the tastes of reading a text in English. Though at the very beginning, you will feel problem in the language, but you have to take the help of a dictionary or the help of Google in understanding the particular word. And very often you will feel that there are some words which haven't been used in their literal meaning. Rather, they have been used symbolically or allegorically. So you have to understand those words and why the writers have used such words in their texts. So please try to read anything actively and critically. So what you should do here? Annotate while reading. Annotate means to understand the meaning of a particular word, especially in the case of a particular sentence used in the text, not the word individually. Rather, you have to know the meaning of the word according to the text or according to the meaning of the sentence. Note important quotes. There are some sentences which are not so important. Even there are some other sentences or some parts of a particular text which are very important in understanding the theme of particular writing. So always identify the unfamiliar words, recurring themes, and questions that arise. So whenever you are going through a text, take time, try to understand them, and become familiar with the unfamiliar words, unknown words, and try to know the meaning of those particular words. If you just avoid them, if you just shun them, you will face the same words in the next day or in the future, and you will feel the same problem. So solve the problem whenever you face them. Don't avoid them. Okay. Pay attention to literary devices such as symbolism, metaphor, irony, allusion, simile. So there are so many literary devices. You should know them. You should understand them. Without knowing them, you will fail to understand what the writer wants to say with a particular words or with a particular comparison. And consider how they shape the meaning of the text. And you should be sincere about learning the literary devices. Okay. Then reflect on the themes. So suppose you have read a story, don't stop thinking just after reading the text. Rather, reflect on this. Think over deeply about the text and try to find out what actually the writers want to say under the surface story. Okay, so try to reflect on the plot, try to reflect on the character development, how the writer has developed the characters of a particular story or novel or an essay. And ask yourself what the author is trying to communicate. So just don't read to know the story. Just don't read a particular text once. Rather, read it again and again till you understand what actually the writer wants to say to you. Okay. Then in third step, you need to develop analytical skills. So you have to analyze our texts. So in this case, you can do practice analyzing different elements such as character, setting, plot, tone, and language. You need to know what is character. You need to know what is setting or what is plot or tone or language. What kind of language the writer has used in presenting his thoughts. So you have to practice and you have to analyze. Just by reading once, you will not enjoy or you will not go deeply in the text. Okay. Then learn to read between the lines. Read between the lines is a phrase. It actually indicates that you have to find out the hidden meaning. There are so many sentences which will have just surface meaning. But writer has the intention to represent something just under the surface meaning. So you have to find out the hidden meaning from the lines. And in this case, you have to read again and again the sentences before or after a particular line or sentence. Okay. Because many literary texts, especially older ones, convey themes and social critics. Suppose you have read the story The Luncheon, or you have read the poem Ulysses, or you have read the poem How Do I Love Thee, or you have read the poem The Gift of the Magi. Actually, there are so many different genres. They are dealing with the same theme, but in different ways. So you need to know what the writings actually want to say to you, what the writers want to say to you. So in this case, you have to learn to read between the lines. Okay. Break down complex sentences. Okay. It may happen that you are not understanding just by reading a long sentence. So it may be 5, 6, or 7 lines, just one sentence. So you may feel blank, that you are not understanding anything. In this case, you have to break the sentence into clauses or phrases. And then you have to connect the meaning of the clauses and phrases together so that you can have the total meaning of a particular sentence. Okay, in this case, and passages to understand the author's precise meaning. So you have to read the whole passage or whole paragraphs or a particular paragraph very critically and paying total attention so that you can understand what actually the passage say or the sentence say. Then understand literary theory. As you are developing or as you are passing one year to another, there will be so many literary theories there. There will be criticism. there will be essay, prose, which actually deals with some literary theory. So you need to understand them. In this case, familiarize yourself with various literary theories like feminism, psychoanalysis, post-colonialism, Marxism, structuralism, and there are so many other isms which I have already mentioned. So you need to understand them. So what post-colonialism mean? What actually colonialism or imperialism mean? In the first year course, you will have shooting an elephant. There you will have the idea of imperialism or colonialism. So you need to know the term. Even you will get apartheid in Long Walk to Freedom in your non-fictional prose. So there are so many theories like this. You have to understand them very clearly. Just knowing the meaning of the word will not work. Rather, you have to understand the total thing of Marxism or structuralism or any other ism or theory if you face them. Okay. Then explore major critics and scholars for insights. So whenever you are reading a particular literary text, you should take the help of the scholar, how they have interpreted the writing, what they have said about the writing, so that you can match them with your own thought and understand whether you are on the right track in understanding the text or not. So you need to study the writing of the other scholar or critics who have written on a particular text. Literary theory can deepen your interpretation and help you see how texts relate to broader philosophical and social ideas. So whenever you are just applying the theory in understanding the text, then you will be able to relate the texts with your existing social condition. Okay. Then in fifth step, you have to explore different genres. I think you know what is genre. Genre means different types of writings like short story, poetry, drama, criticism, essay, and even in poetry you will have subjective poetry or objective poetry. Even you will have lyric, sonnet, elegy. So there are different genres of writing. So you have to be familiar with different genres including poetry, drama, fiction, non-fiction, etc. because each genre has its own conventions and forms. Because you will know that different kinds of poems like sonnet, elegy, metaphysical poetry, or dramatic monologue. So these are the different genres and they have their own form and style, and you should know them. Understand the structure and stylistic element specific to each genre, which I have already told you that what is sonnet and what kinds of sonnets are there. So in this way you have to know the structure and the stylistic element like rhythm, rhyme scheme, meter, measure. These are the elements in understanding or specifying a particular sentence. Okay. Then experiment with reading across genres to gain a broad perspective and compare how different genres handle similar themes like love, power, and identity. That is, similar theme is dealt in different genres. As you can say that familial love between husband and wife has been dealt in a particular poem like How Do I Love Thee, or in a particular story like The Gift of the Magi or The Cat in the Rain. This kind of stories or poetry have been included in your first year course. So same familial or husband-wife relationship has been dealt in a poetry or in a short story. So theme is similar, but the dealing or the narration or the representation is different. Okay, so you should know how different genres handle similar themes like love, power, and identity. Okay. Then in sixth step, you need to discuss and exchange ideas. So you can make a group with the similar minded students or learners or persons, and you can discuss with them what you have understood. And you should share your ideas among yourself so that you can enrich them by sharing and exchanging. Like, literature is enriched by discussion. So try to engage in study groups or online forums where you can discuss your thoughts and interpretations with others so that you can understand whether you are right or not, or whether you can get other meanings other than what you have just got. Okay, so you have to discuss, you have to make a groove. It may be online or offline. You have to discuss with others because you have to judge whether you are in the right track in understanding the text or not. Then listen to different interpretations, as literature often has no single correct reading. A piece of literature will give you different angles or different themes because there is no single correct reading. It may happen that one person has understood one thing, another has understood another thing, but they are not wrong. Rather, they may be different in their understanding, interpretation, but they all are right. So you have to share, you have to exchange your ideas, and you have to deepen your understanding by sharing and exchanging. Okay. So this exchange of ideas can deepen your appreciation of complex texts and expose you to new perspectives. So if you do this, you will be exposed to different arenas, and they will give you broader understanding of a particular thing. Then in seventh step, it is said that you should use additional resources. If you fail to understand a particular text just by reading the texts, you can help other resources. Like, make use of study guides such as Spark Notes, Clip Notes for summaries and analysis. But be careful that use these sparingly to avoid becoming overly dependent on them. You can use them because they will help you in understanding the texts, but don't avoid the texts. Okay, because if you become totally dependent on study guides, you will actually narrow your understanding. Okay, so if necessary, you can take help, but don't be dependent on study guides or any summaries or any analysis. Rather, go through the texts, try to study the texts, and develop yourself step by step. Though at the very beginning you will feel very hard in understanding or going ahead, but step by step you will enjoy and go forward very cheerfully and confidently. But if at the very beginning, if we avoid the texts and just read the summaries, you will feel the problem in the long run. Okay, you will understand that what mistakes you have done. And explore online lectures. You can take help from online lectures, podcasts, or literary analysis videos from respected sources. Okay, respected sources, not common sources. Because if you just get them and take them from common sources, you will lead toward wrong way. Okay, you will fall in problem in the long run. So be careful. Okay, there are so many information around you, but you have to be very judgmental in taking help from any source. You have to understand whether that source will give you false idea or correct idea, whether those sources will give you proper materials or not. You have to understand them. Okay, so you can take help from study guides, online lectures, podcasts, literary analysis videos, which can clarify complex texts or provide historical contexts. Suppose you are studying Gettysburg Address. Okay, so you need to know the historical background. So you can search in the Google, or you can watch videos from YouTube, or you can read any excerpts or any writing from different websites. they will help you in understanding the texts. But be careful that you have to search from dependable and reliable sources. Okay. And then in 8th step, it is said that develop your own interpretation. So I think step by step you have developed your own understanding. You have created your own interpretation of a particular text. So what you should do here, while it's essential to understand the established critics, while you are reading from different sources, okay, you are taking the help from different critics, but it is also necessary that you create your own interpretation, your own understanding, because this will give you confidence. Okay, so it is said that while it's essential to understand the established critics, developing your own unique perspective is equally important. So develop your own unique perspective. According to your own perspective, you can have different interpretation, different meaning, or different theme. So that literary piece can be applicable to your understanding. Okay, so don't be hesitant to create your own idea, to create your own opinion, just depending on the text. Keep a journal where you write down your thoughts and ideas about what you read. So you can keep a diary or a journal so that you can have a collective understanding after reading the notes you have prepared. Okay, so this practice will help you discover your interpretations and build confidence in your critical analysis, because at the last time when you will go through the text and also with the notes or interpretation you have, all will give you a proper or total understanding of a particular text or a writing. Okay, then in 9th step, read regularly and widely. So don't read just in a bit. Okay, read widely and read regularly. Suppose you have read something 7 days ago, I think you will forget them. So you have to have a good reading habit and you have to read so many things so you can have broader understanding in different things. Okay. So it is said that finally consistency is key. So you have to be consistent, regular. Read both classics and contemporary works. So suppose you have only 10 books or 10 writings in your first year course, but you have to read more than those 10 topics only. Okay, read widely means you have to read more books, more topics, and those extra reading will give you broader understanding, better understanding of your selected texts for your particular year or class. Okay. As literature continues to evolve, because the writing of a Bangladeshi writer may help you in understanding the writing of an English writer. So don't hesitate in reading the texts outside of your class. Okay. Reading widely within and outside the canon can broaden your understanding of different styles and voices. Okay. So please expand your reading arena so that you can have better understanding of anything. Then approach reading with an open mind. You have to be open-minded, because if you just look at a text with your narrow-mindedness, you will not understand them, because this may give you false idea or improper idea. So open your mind, read something widely and varyingly. Okay, and this will make your understanding or attitude broader. So it is said that approach reading with an open mind, willing to appreciate each author's unique style. You may not have interest in reading poetry, you may have interest in reading short story. So don't avoid reading poetry. Rather, try to read it and appreciate how they have been successfully written something, and how they have been successful in presenting a particular thought. Okay, so whether you are reading a sonnet by Shakespeare or a novel by Toni Morrison. So whatever you read, just try to appreciate the writer, how he has been able to present a particular thought which may be applicable to the contemporary society. Then in 10th step, it is being said that practice writing analytical essay. So whatever you have read or whatever you have understood, you now need to start writing. Okay, so that you can have collective ideas. Okay, you can have total ideas in a particular writing. And whenever you will go through them, you will think that you will get that you have a better and broader understanding of the particular text. Okay, so it is said that writing about literature helps solidify your understanding and develop your critical thinking skills. Okay, so start with a clear thesis statement, structure your argument logically, and support it with evidence from the text. So start writing. So whatever you have thought, just writing it. Just start writing and give support, choosing the sentences or lines from the texts as quotation. So use quotations to back up your points. So you need to give quotations. But remember to analyze them rather than just including them. So if you just only include the quotations, it will not help you. Rather, you have to analyze the quoted lines, how they are related to your thought. You have to give the point, okay, in your writing. So explain how the quote illustrates a specific theme or supports your interpretations. So I think we have got some step-by-step points which we need to follow in understanding literature, especially English literature. Then in the last but not the least important point is stay motivated and persistent. It may happen that you are trying hard, but every time you fail in understanding. You are giving hard push, but you are not able to go through. But it is said that stay motivated because it will take time to make it a practice. So whenever you are feeling that I'm not good at it, I'm not doing good, or I'm not understanding, so don't leave it. Rather, take a break and start again. In this way, you must be persistent. And if you are persistent, you will reach your goal ultimately. Okay, it is said that studying English literature is a journey of discovering the complexities of language, history, and human experience. So it is a kind of journey in which you are discovering different things related to language, history, and human experience. So if you just keep going, keep reading, you will gain so many insights about culture, religion, that you will be amazed at the last moment that you have known so many things. Okay, the more you read and analyze, the better you will understand the art and impact of literary works, enabling you to enjoy, appreciate, and critically engage with English literature in depth. So it is said that if you read more and analyze more, the better you will understand the art and impact of literary works. That what are the impacts of a particular art or piece of literature on our society, because then you will be able to enjoy, appreciate, and critically engage with English literature in depth. So these are the 11 steps or points, top points you need to know how to enjoy English literature or how to study English literature. Don't study just for your exam or getting a mark or just to cross the bar of exam. Rather, enjoy literature, which will give pleasure and moral teaching as well. Because literature has two aims. First one is to give you pleasure, and through pleasure, give you moral lessons. And if you follow these 11 points or important things, I think you will be able to study English literature very effectively. And I think at the last of this video class, you have gained some special insight how you should start and how you should go ahead in studying English literature. So thank you very much for staying till the end of this video class. No more today. See you again in the next video class with another important topic. Bye.